Right. Hot mic, and it's time to get it moving. Come on. Uh. Come on. Red hot mic. Come on. It's hot. Got my friend back here. We're here in the red hot mic. And we want you to come over in this house. But there are lions. And bears out there. And wolves out there. Come on in this house. Where it's nice and safe. Come on. That's the red hot mic. Oh, yeah. Come on, this house. It's time for another broadcast. It's time for you to ruminate, elevate, and to activate. Please subscribe, like, share, and notification bell. If you got any questions, comments, or concerns, go to our Gmail account at Red Hot Mike. Yeah. All right. I got a question for you. It's a very serious question. Which is more responsible? That which comes through? That's the question. That which comes through or that which comes from? Oh, yeah. It's the Red Hot Mike. Come on in this house. Oh, yeah. Come on in here. Here, come on in here. I like having fun. I like having fun with it. Yes, I do. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's another edition of the Red Hot Mic, and yes, I am the host, G Alpha Punk. To you one more time. I tell you, tonight's topic is going to make some folks upset. I already know. I already know. But that's not my intent. That's never my intent. But that is what happens sometimes. And when that happens, and that the message that you're bringing is not for everyone. It's only for those that have an ear to hear. If you don't have an ear to hear, it's not for you. It's not meant to upset you or make you angry. You can just keep getting up. You don't even have to respond because it's not for you. So that's the bottom line. Because um, it speaks to something that I think that's very, very important, and that is the importance of that which comes through, or no, excuse me, that which comes from rather than that which comes through. What's more responsible, that which come or that which comes through? What has the most responsibility? What has the most authority? What has the most rights? What? That which comes from or that which comes through. Now simple question. To me, it does, but I mean, to some people, it may not. So we want to entertain that tonight on the Red Hot Mic. But before we get started, you know how we do. We start by giving homage to our brother Daniels, and we do that by recognizing him and the contribution he's made to humanity, not one sector of people, even though some would take that to mean that. But again, those that have an ear to hear will understand what I'm saying. So tonight, the candle of the evening, once again, is the one that I enjoy because of what it presents. It's called charcoal, and it comes from Apothecary. Very enjoyable scent. Cleans the air. I enjoy it a lot. So that's our scent, our candle of the evening. Now, our scent of the evening, or our fragrance of the evening, is one that I've used before. I really do like it. And it's called Black Bold. Black Bold from Kenneth Cole. Being that we're in the fall season now, trying to make a transition from some of the, should say, summery kinds of scents to a more uh, woodsy, more kind of leathery, kind of earthy kinds of scents, because those scents really carry well in the fall and winter months. So we want you to check this out. This is Black Bold. Black Bold, which is Kenneth Cole's Black Bold, is a brushed leather scent with aromatic accents of nutmeg, violet, suede, and woods highlight its sophisticated profile. Really, really nice scent. Very masculine, very bold. I like Black Bold. It is very bold. Not everybody would can or would probably like the scent, but I do. But check it out. You may enjoy it. You may enjoy it. Black. All right. You know, some of I get sometimes things just they work right when you get and some of this what can you say? You just keep going, going, going. That's what you can do. And because some of the music's not, and we try to upload it. Let's see if it'll work. Get what we're looking for. Anyway, what can you say? What can you say? What can you say? We're going to continue on because that's what we do. We continue on even though things may not fare well and some other music. We'll just use some other music. I want to thank everyone out there that's tuning in. And thank you for just hanging in there with me. I really do appreciate it. I know that the broadcast tonight may be a little difficult for some people, may be triggering for some, and for others it may not. So we'll see. I want something a little less. I want a little, and none of my, none of them are playing. That's playing. That's playing. That's not. I don't even know what that is because nothing's coming out. Anyway, we got to keep going. We did that one already. So we'll go with this. Okay? We'll go with this. So it's time for us to do the answer wheel. And we do the answer wheel time we come together. And the answer wheel gives you the opportunity to get guidance from the universe relative to something that you may be going through. Gives you the opportunity to get an answer to something that you may have been. It's not me doing it. It's the universe giving you an opportunity to hear. And it's very important to understand the difference between hearing and listening. Some people think listening is more acute, but it is not. Hearing is more, because hearing calls for us to use more faculties than just the physical apparatus, auditory apparatus in our head, in our bodies. But anyway, answer wheel. And what we do is we give the answer wheel a spin. And what the answer wheel does, it will stop on an answer. It will say either yes, maybe, definitely, no way, try again, or ask a friend. It's interesting how the answer wheel does answer. And so whatever it is that you've gone through, whatever it is, it may be trying. It may be something that is really, really, you don't know what to do. But the answer wheel is saying if you can release your faith and believe, then yes, you can receive the answer to what it is that you're going through. So here, the answer wheel will give us one of the answers. And tonight, it's saying, ask a friend. Now, that's unique. That's unique because we don't always get that. Ask a friend. First of all, do you have friends? Do you have people in your life that you trust? I'm not talking about those people that try to take advantage of you, because they're out there too. I'm talking about those who are really your friends that look out for your best interests. Not everybody has those, not everybody. But if you do have that, you're very, very fortunate, because many don't. And like, this is the masculine man. Men, there's not as many friends in their lives as there are in females and women's lives. Men and males don't have a lot of friends. But that looks out for your best interest and looks to help and not hinder nor harm, that's who you need to go to and explain what you're going through. And ask them what would they do. Maybe you want to couch it in a way where they won't even know it's you. Maybe you do. Maybe you have that kind of friend that you can be that frank with. So if you do, go to them. See what they say. Talk about the pros and the cons, the benefits. Do a SWOT analysis. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and strengths of that given situation with your friend. And maybe they can help you. Anyway, back after this little break, and we're going to come back with tonight's topic. And we're going to talk about what has the most right, most power, most responsibility, that which comes from or that which comes through. We'll be right back.
In our current global climate, we're facing challenges never before experienced by this generation. Oppositions where no one seems to have clear directions or answers to the risks facing us. Confrontations like racial and gender unrest, political gerrymandering, toxic leadership, economic crisis, global pandemic, health threats, pre-existing medical conditions, isolation, boredom, and loneliness are driving people to desperation. As a result, people are confused, afraid, anxious, and perplexed, and they need answers to some tough questions and even tougher situations. They are looking into different outlets for answers to gain assurance and consolation. Some have drawn closer to the embrace of family, while others look more towards their friendships, education, and even religion. What we need is a fresh voice of truth and clarity, and not a stale religious echo from the past. There's a re-emerging voice on the horizon that isn't afraid to stand alone and give spiritual and mentally sound direction to a world searching for answers. G. Alfred Palmer offers a voice of sound human development and empowerment to those willing to hear. There's a need for new ideas to old principles, a perspective from a timeless origin, but with current vision, a thought leader who understands what it means to stand alone and speak truth when some are hard of hearing. But if you've been waiting to hear a voice that opens the gates of freedom and breaks the shackles of confusion to allow you to step forward into the dawning of a new and exciting future, then it's time to bridge the gap with Dr. G. Alfred Palmer. He is a dynamic speaker, thought leader, and entrepreneur, equipped to elevate, expand, and extend the development, empowerment, and leadership of his audiences. He stands ready to speak at your next event. His delivery is guaranteed to refresh, entertain, and transform. G. Alfred Palmer bridges the gap from uncertainty to the purpose, to passion, and leadership. Book him today for your next event, and you won't be disappointed.
All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Well, some folks, and we were talking about some of the dilemma that we are now seeing in our community, culture, and clan, especially in our communities. And I was asked, what is the answer? What is the answer? What is the answer to what we're facing in our community, culture, and clan? What is it that we're facing? Why is things we're having so much problems in our community? And someone was just ringing my phone. And so I thought about it, and I said that, you know, one of the biggest problems is that which understanding the structure of authority, of power, of a responsibility. That's the biggest key: responsibility, and not having that structure, that authority structure in place. And we look at authority as being something negative or controlling, instead of that which is safety and protective. So tonight I want to talk to you about the difference between that which comes through. Now, for me to do this, I have to really go back, and I have to, for some of you, this may be too heavy, this may not be up your alley, but I'm going to go this route because I need to. And that is, I'm going to have to go to the biblical narrative, and if this it's not something that makes a lot of sense to you, or you may not agree with it, which is fine. It's not for you. That's fine. But there are some people out there that do understand, believe in what I'm going to be talking about. Okay. You may not agree with everything, but you will hear something that will resonate with you in the recesses of your spirit. Okay, so here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about first that when we talk about creation, it's important to understand that masculine preceded feminine. Now, it had to, and it didn't do that because of wanting to be more powerful, wanting to be the big kahuna. It had all to do with protection and responsibility. Protection and responsibility. And understanding this, masculinity was not initially a gender. I should say masculine wasn't realm, and transformed from masculine to masculinity. Put on an ITY. Drop the E, put on an ITY. That's important to understand because the ITY talks about the degrees, the stages, or the science of math. Now, when we understand the masculine of science, when we understand the science of masculinity, what we literally begin to understand is how masculine was operating before it became masculine. Is not gender specific, it's operational and functional in nature, okay, and in scope. It is not a gender, it is a function. It initiates, right? It penetrates, it inserts, it injects, right? And it pierces. That's what the operation of masculine does. Now, for to operate and function in this sphere, it had to drop the E, put on the ITY, which was and is the prefix, meaning, or I should say the suffix, meaning degree, stages, or the science of masculine. Masculine is a scientific, in this sphere, a scientific modality that has order to it, principles, guidelines, function and operation. Design. Now, what does that mean? Design. Well, masculine, it shows forth its design in masculinity through the design of the boy, male, and man. If you're a man, you will understand what I'm talking about. The genitalia in the area, in the area that we have certain equipment that shows forth and gives us a type and shadow of what masculine is. And it has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with purpose. It has to do with operation and function. How you're supposed to operate. You're supposed to initiate. You're supposed to inject. You're supposed to insert. You're supposed to pierce. You're supposed to initiate. So what we're supposed to do. That's why we have the Masculine Man Cave, to help us to gain a better perspective of understanding that those are the functions of masculinity. And it is a type and shadow that's daily with us in our design. It's a token, a shadow of our masculinity. Now we have abused masculinity. We have abused it. We have misused the science. You have people in canon who is abusing the design. We have other guys out there, they're not even men, they're males out there abusing, because see, you can't properly use that which you don't understand. Use it or abnormally use that thing if you don't have an understanding of it. So we have males out there. I don't care if you're alpha, beta, delta, you're still a male. You still not understands the function of masculinity. The function of masculinity is to protect, right? It is to have the responsibility for, and to, is this masculinity that, you know, I hear people talk about toxic masculinity. It is not, that's not masculinity. That is chauvinism, misogyny. That's what those are. So to use the phrase toxic masculinity is untrue. It's not masculinity at all. Masculinity is not toxic. But that's the term we use because we don't understand what masculinity is. It's a science. Anytime you have a science there, a order, H2O. That's the science, the chemistry of water. It has a specific notation. You cannot, if you take one of the hydrogens, what do you have? You don't have water. So it becomes important to have structure. It becomes important to have order. Degree outlines order. Degrees outline order, structure, operation. That's what you're supposed to be doing, gentlemen. And that is not going out and hitting all the, like what Nick Cannon is doing. Because you cannot be of those cases. Now, I understand, I know some folks believe that that is a biblical idea. Well, it's not. Because not everything in the Bible is prescriptive. Some of it's just descriptive. I'll say that again. Not everything in the Bible, it's descriptive. It describes certain things and not saying that these are the things that is prescribing to you to do. It's just outlining that these are the things that were done. Not that they were right, but it is outlining that that's what is done. Just like we're doing now. We're doing things and we're saying not okay. See, we've contaminated our minds toward what we think is masculinity when it's not masculinity at all. Someone would say it's toxic masculinity. No, it's not masculinity at all. Masculinity at all. No, it's not. It's not. So if we're going to operate and function as men understand masculinity, chauvinism, and they understand misogyny. And they know the differences between the three. And they operate in masculinity because they understand that and misogyny are underdeveloped and dysfunctional. But masculinity is fully functional. Now, masculinity is not only flexible, it's protective. It's authoritative. See, this is why some folks don't like the idea of masculinity because it's authoritative. But the authoritativeness of misogyny is not harm or hinder. It's only to protect. It's only to protect. It's only to function and operate in a manner, in a way, in a manner that would bring about the multiplication, the extension, the elevation, and the excavation of a community, culture, and clan. Without that, our communities will fail. But I'm here to share with you, masculinity is not going. We can think that the media now is doing things that would preclude or even try to denigrate and do away with masculinity. It's not possible because masculinity comes from the sphere. It's no way that can happen. But what needs to happen is for men to stand in to stand in their masculinity and stop acting like something else. We have these males who some operate and function in the traits of feminism or femininity. And they have taken on traits and to the point that they can't think right as opposed to thinking in a masculine form. They think more feminine than they do masculine, and it's not their fault. It's how they were raised. It's how they were. The where has been uploaded. But we can reclaim that, reclaimate that software. We can reclaim it, but it takes understanding the difference between masculinity that's in masculinity, and to understand how the feminine traits have affected our males and our boys. Now, I'm going to say some things that if I've already said offend some folks. Again, it's not my intent. My intent is to help folks. And if it's something that it helps you find, if it doesn't, then I apologize ahead of time because that's not my intention. Now, I got some questions. Can fathers teach their daughters to be wives? Now, why is that an important question? Why is that an important question? Because that speaks to the structure of our homes. It speaks to the structure of our homes. A father can be a wife from the perspective of meeting the needs of her man. Man has listen to this, man has the legal right to speak into the life of a woman based on the creative narrative. Came from man, thus man has the legal, universal, and spiritual right and responsibility and protection. I added the protection to the life of a woman. Greater responsibility and greater authority comes from a thing that comes from a thing and not through a thing. Now, what am I talking about when I say that? Well, that's easy. What I'm talking about is look at the whole idea. When we look at the whole idea of creation, people will debate and say that all humanity is born of women. There's some truth to that, but there's also some fallacy to it. And the reason why that's important is to understand that there's an importance in understanding the difference between coming through something and coming from something. If we understand this, woman came from man. Woman came from man. Now, how did that happen? How did that happen? Well, masculine had to come into the earth. And in order for it to do that, it had to do it in a way that is lawful and right. It could not come into this sphere breaking law. So in order for that to happen, it had to in the operation in the mode that it was created to pierce, right? To puncture, to insert, to inject, to initiate. That's what happened when masculine called earth. Now, here's what's important. Now, if masculine came in lawfully, how could feminine get here? Because feminine does not operate, hear me now, masculine operates the way that I just told you. But feminine receives, incubates, nurtures, protects. And that's what the function and operation of feminine is. Again, before feminine and masculine entered into the sphere, they were operational and functional. They were not gender. Two functions, hot and cold, yin yang, black, white. These are functions. These are two binary functions that serve two different things. things. But in order for it to come into this sphere, for feminine to come into this sphere, because it does not, cannot, was not meant to pierce, operate, or function as masculine. So it couldn't the way masculine did, because masculine lawfully operates in the way that I just told you. But feminine, to do those things, would not get it into this sphere, because to receive, right, to those don't enter in. So how did it feminine get here? Feminine got here covered by masculine. And so came in aid under the guise, the responsibility and the protection of masculine. So that when it came into this sphere, when it came time to separate the two, it's lawful. It was lawful to separate masculine from feminine, masculinity from femininity. So, would I say that can a father teach his daughter how to be a wife? Yes, he can. What we have to first understand is woman came from man, because when masculinity separated from femininity, femininity came from him. 100%. There was no femininity, 100%, all masculinity, 100%. Some people say, well, that's where, some of these other genders come from. No. Everything separate totally equal. So it's important to understand, because of that, the masculinity has responsibility, protection, and authority to and for femininity. Now, I'm not being the boss, being in charge, responsible to and for, protective, right? And authoritative. Authoritative is a better word to use. Now, some would think that I'm trying to be, that what I'm saying, it's not, because misogyny hates women. Misogyny hates women. This is not hating women. I'm talking about responsibility to and for property. You have to, and so it's not about trying to make women submissive. See, we have a misunderstanding of what submissiveness is, and we're going to talk about it and get a better understanding. Submissive is not what we've been. And if I was a woman, I wouldn't want to submit to what we've geared up as being submissive either, because what we've labeled as submissive is not submissive. It's slavery. It either, ladies. So I agree with you, but you've got to understand you got to understand what misogyny is, but you've got to also understand what masculinity is. And so if we can do is we can better understand and agree to come in agreement with masculinity, and we both reject misogyny. I reject misogyny. I reject chauvinism, masculinity, and I uplift masculine. Now, so a father can speak into not only his daughter's life, the wrong idea. The first thing a man is supposed to do is find purpose. Why? Because that's the reason why he's here anyway. And then once you find purpose and begin to operate and function in purpose, then you look for your yang, the yin to your yang, is what I should say, the hot to your cold, right? And she should be the opposite of what you are, but having the same things in common with purpose as you, but just the other side. And you're supposed to fit. The problem is we're looking for the wrong things. Listen, the attractiveness, the physical attractiveness will dissipate for you and for her. You know, I get asked this question. I was really I asked a young lady on social media. She was having a party for her pregnant child, and all of the pictures were her here and there doing this and that. And this was not a put down. I asked where was the father. Now some people frown and that's a good question. Why can't we ask that question? You ask when guys say they have babies, you ask who the mother is. So why can't we ask who the father is to these young girls or these single mothers? So I asked about where the father. Someone, and then you can imagine what happened. The hyenas came after me. And what happened is, you know how hyenas are. They make those sounds, and they came after me. And one of them said to me, some of the things she said to me, I'm not even going to repeat but I posted it. And the verbiage she used and the names that she called me, sign language, right? We all know what sign language is. It's short for what? What is it? You know, shaming, insults, guilt, tripping us. And then I say name calling. And that's what I got. Name calling. Everything from the color of my skin to doing things with my mother. And this was Black women. I'm not going to repeat that. But the bottom line is, she talked about how unattractive I am. But here's the punchline. Men aren't supposed to be attractive. You are. We're not supposed to be attractive. You are. And when you use that kind of language, when you look that way, when you put on that, you're not looking attractive. You may look sexy. You may look alluring. And to a degree, it may be attention getting. It may get someone's attention, but it's not attractive. Attractive draws and holds. But you might get my attention. Oh, we'll look, but it won't hold. I don't know. I don't know. Because long enough to get what he wants. Long enough to get it, it will get his attention long enough. That's why you can't keep him, because you don't know the difference between attention and attraction. See, attraction's about him. I should say attention is about him. Attraction is about you. Attraction is about you. Attention is I see. Attraction is I'm allured. I'm drawn in by that. So she's supposed to have attraction, not me. She's supposed to be attractive, not me. Oh, yes, I am a man. I am a manly man. I may not have all the qualities that you're looking for, but I'm a man. And so the bottom line is, we've got to understand that ladies are supposed to be attractive, not men. So when she says you're ugly, and that's fine, gentlemen. Don't even get offended by it, because you're not supposed to be cute, handsome. No, you need that rugged look. You need that masculinity look, whatever that is for you. And whatever that look is for you, the creator put it in you intentionally. Whether it's she doesn't like it or not, that's fine. It's not for her. Don't get upset or angry because she called you names. She doesn't know you. So, yes, she's going to call you names. She's going to try to make you feel guilty because guilt is an emotion where they function. Right? Insults. They're going to insult because that sharp tongue. They have a sharp tongue. And they're going to use it. And they have intellect, which they'll use to shame you. But you've got to understand who you are, big dog. You got to understand who you are, big man, and not be intimidated, insulted, or made to feel inferior by someone that doesn't have an inkling of not only who you are, but who they are. Okay? All right. So let's look at something else. Let's look at something else. The next thing I want to look at is, can mothers teach their sons to be husbands? Oh, can mothers teach their sons to be husbands? Because in a lot of single family homes, this is the very thing that's happening because the mother is the only parent in the home. And as a result of that, all the boy gets is what he's being taught by the mother. Now, a mother can speak into the life of her son, but not on how to be a husband or how to be a man, because she's not one. Being a husband, being a man is a masculine function and can only come from the masculinity of a man. Males can't even teach you because they have not developed. So when your mother, so I hear guys say, well, my mother taught me how to be a man. No, she didn't, because she's not a man. So I don't care how rough and tough she was on you, there's still femininity in her perspective because that's all she has. It's going to be tainted with femininity. It's going to be injected with femininity. And thus making her incapable of speaking masculinity into you. Only masculinity can speak into masculinity. Now, when we talk about that, some folks get upset. They get upset because you're saying that my mother didn't teach me how to be a man. No, she didn't. She didn't. That's not saying you didn't become a man. I don't know what you've done or how you went about it, but there had to be injection. There had to be insertion. There had to be a penetration of masculinity if you have received it from some, whether that's uncle, whether that's a coach, whether that's someone that a club, I don't know, but somewhere there had to be masculine meeting masculine to make you a man. And if that did not happen, it's those type of males that have more of a feminine perspective than they do a male perspective. They sound more like women than they do men. And not even women. They sound more like females than they do men. See, because a female is not a woman, and a woman is not a female. A woman is the mastery of the universe's creation. She was formed. He was created. There's a difference. There's a difference. Being created is different than being formed. Being created comes from nothing. Being formed comes from that which already is. What was that already was? Man. She was formed from man. But he was created from the image of the creator, the likeness of the creator. Now, that is not to put women down. Women, that most certainly is not to put mothers down. Mothers do the best that they can. I believe they do the best that they can with what they've been taught. They do the best that they can with how they think. They do the best that they can. But the bottom line is, I don't care how rough and tough and how she punched you in the chest and how she talked to you and da 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 da. She's still coming from a feminine perspective. She's not. You can't be what you're not. She cannot be what she's not. Nor can you be what you're not. If you hear me. Okay? All right. So, but some people say, well, I learned it. I learned this from my mother. I learned that from my mother. I learned that. I get that. You have. And most of you think that everything you learned from your mother, but you have not paid attention to those men that have been in your life, around in your life. You need to turn your attention to those and begin to look at what you gleaned from them and what they sowed in you, injected into you, inserted into you, initiated in you. Okay? And I'm talking about those things that of a masculine quality that will cause you to live and to matriculate from boyhood to malehood to manhood. And these are qualities, attributes, mentalities, paradigms of how to function and operate. That's what it is. It's nothing more than that. That's what masculinity is. It's the teaching, it's the discipleship, it's the discipline of moving from one phase to another. That's important. So, can mothers teach their sons to be husbands? Can a mother teach their sons to be husbands? She can speak into his life from a feminine perspective so that he can gain a better understanding of women. She's to teach him about women. She's not to teach him about men, because she can't, but she definitely can, if she's a woman. And in a lot of cases, if she's a female, she's going to teach you that too. And that's why you have the perspective about females that you do. Because you see your mother act up or act a certain way, and it generates in your mind a certain paradigm. And you go out and you look at that same paradigm and you see it, you have a reaction to it. But if you had a mother that showed you how a woman functions and operates so that you can have an intellectual understanding how to initiate, how to penetrate, how to inject in a woman, when she teaches you, that's the value of your mother. That's the value of a mother. But what we have now, in a lot of cases, they're not women. They're not women. They're fathers. There's female mothers, fathers. They have female, half father, and half mother, a third each. That's what we have. And then when we look at these boys that are not matriculating, you're not matriculating. You haven't learned because you haven't had the kind of masculinity training and discipleship that you needed. And it's because of that you think in the way that you do. And when you hear someone like me talking the way that I am, it bothers you. It bothers you. And you think you think I'm being misogynist or misogynistic. You think that that's what I'm being because you have a paradigm that's more feminine than it is masculine. Can fathers teach their sons to be can fathers teach their sons to be husbands? That's a great question. That's a great question. And I'm gonna say this to you. The reason why that's a great question is because of this. A father can speak into the life of his son, most definitely. And he's supposed to. That is his responsibility. One of them. Remember, we talk about responsibility, right? We talked about responsibility, authority, responsibility. Okay. So a father can speak into his son in the life of his son, and he's supposed to. And he's supposed to first show him what it's like to be a man. And he's supposed to show his son how it is to be a husband, if he's ever been one, based on two factors. One, masculinity, and two, husbandry. And so in order for him to be effective, is for him to depend upon the effects of these two areas that come from his father. If his father doesn't have it, he can't give it to you. So if his father's ineffective, so will you be ineffective. If your father's absent, you won't get it. But if your father was successful, you too will be more capable of being successful as a man as he teaches you. Now, there's no guarantees. However, skill sets will be dependent upon the growth of your father's masculinity development. And that's the problem we're having now. Look at what's going on in the media. There's no masculinity. It's being denigrated. It's being diminished. It's being attacked, isn't it? People are attacking masculinity. They're trying to say that masculinity is equivalent to narcissism. They're saying that masculinity is a disorder. They give it the characteristics of narcissism when you know who you are. And they put a negative spin on it because what they want to do is they want to do away with masculinity. Listen, hear me now. You cannot do away with masculinity. It is impossible because it is not an earthly concept. Principle. It's a principle that is a universal one. Everything has a masculine, a positive, and a negative, and that which inserts and that which receives. Everything does. You can't get away from it. You can never do away with it. The universe will not allow it. You'll be gotten rid of first. The universe will not allow it. Or God. Take your pick. Okay? So when it comes to can a father teach his son to be a husband, it's dependent on whether your dad was a son. If your dad learned how to be a husband from his father, and so on and so forth. You can learn. Definitely, it's something that is a skill that can be learned. But it has to come from masculinity. Not from misogyny. Not for chauvinism. Masculinity. So you gentlemen out there that have sons, it's important that you not get misogynist perspective, nor a chauvinist perspective to teach your son. See, and the thing is this, your son learns more by what you do than what you say. He's watching you. And you wonder where he get that. He got it from you. That's where he got it from. That's exactly where he got it from you. He saw you do it first. He saw you hit his mother. That's not masculinity. That's misogyny. Men don't hit women. But males do. Boys do. Remember when you were in school? The girl you liked, you hit her. And as obscene and as demonic as that sounds, that's what we did. And they still do it. But men don't hit women. No. So if he hits you once, you don't have a man. Ladies. Men don't hit women. Never, ever hit women. Well, if she hits me, I hit her back. Well, if she hits you, then you don't have a woman. But women don't hit men. I'll say that again. Women don't hit men, and men don't hit women. So can fathers teach their sons how to be husbands? Only if you learned how to be one. How do you learn that? How do you learn that? By being in the presence of husbands. Someone asked me, is what Nick Cannon is doing, is it right or wrong? It's wrong. He cannot be a husband. He cannot be a father. Now, we've got some of these religious organizations that push that you can be a father and a husband to more than one wife. Now, what you've got to understand is, and I saw a football player, Cam Newton. I saw Cam Newton on a podcast where he was telling folks that the Bible said that you were supposed that a man can have more than one wife. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. And here's what happens when you take males and give them and they try to take and misappropriate masculine male paradigm. You abuse it. You misunderstand it. Man was never meant to have a harem. He says the husband of one wife. Now, however that happens, I'm a firm believer that some relationships were not meant to be. So divorce is a proper function. You should have one wife at a time. One. Okay, that's enough of that. So can mothers teach their daughters to be wives? What do you think? What do you think? Absolutely. Only if she was a mother and then she was a wife. Because you have, just like you have some daddies that aren't fathers. There's a difference between a daddy and a father. Father is one that mentors and guides, and as is a mother. Some mothers have kids and they don't care anything about them. Well, excuse me, that's not a mother. That's a mom. Some women, some females have children. I have to get my verbiage together. Females have children and mistreat them. Women do not. Women, as I said earlier, they receive, they incubate, they nurture, they protect. That's what women do who are mothers. Single mothers cannot teach daughters how to be wives because they're not wives. Just like a father, a father that's single, okay, he's going to have to learn how to be a father from someone else. He's in the same boat as the single mother. He can't be a father either unless he's taught. It's just the same thing with the single female or the single mother. She can be taught, but she cannot be a wife unless she's taught how to be a wife. Single mothers teach their daughters how to be independent, not how to be wives. That's what we're seeing. Single mothers are teaching their daughters to be independent, not wives. Look what's happening in our culture. Daughters who were taught to be independent by their fathers were raised by males and not a man. And if your father taught you to be independent, you were not raised by a man. You were raised by a male. Because men understand the proper need of a wife. And he teaches his daughter properly about how to be a wife. And how a wife is to benefit a man. Fathers who teach their daughters independence doesn't understand the role of a wife. And they don't understand the role that a wife plays in the life of a man. They don't understand purpose. That's why you're not able to teach your daughter how to be a wife, because you can't teach her. You can't teach her because you don't understand how to be a wife yourself. Can mothers teach their daughters how to be wives? Only if the mothers were wives themselves. If she wasn't, she can't. Now, I know this is a lot tonight. I know it was a lot. But it's a lot to ruminate, elevate, and activate in your life. It really is. It really is. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. So until the next time we come together, this is G. Alpha Palmer. Peace.